Frank Gaffney is the founder and president for the Center of Security Policy. They analyze foreign and defense policy matters. Frank, I want to talk to you because there is a big debate on the internet and the New York Times and everybody else saying that I'm a crazy nut job because of Harold Koh. Most people don't know what transnationalism is, but that is the rest of the world makes the decision for us, and our Constitution is second to international law, right?
Well, yeah, in the words of Harold Koh himself, there is a way of internalizing global norms, which is a fancy way of saying of getting the U.S. government to abide by laws that the Congress wouldn't pass because the American people wouldn't accept them.
For instance,
it's a bank shot that gets, you know, the will of the Europeans or the will of the UN bureaucrats, or even worse, the will of our enemies,
right,
imposed on us through this internalized norm exercise.
For instance, transnationalism, and this is not a dirty word. This is not like saying, you're a Marxist. Transnationalism is not a bad thing to transnationalists. Harold Koh, who is now up to be the main attorney for international law in our State Department, he is for the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Tell me what that means to Americans and the Constitution.
Well, look, let me just make a point, if I may.
Yeah.
You know, Marxism wasn't a bad term to Marxists. Communism wasn't a bad term to communists. Fascism and Nazism weren't bad terms to them either.
Eugenics
it doesn't mean it's good for
by
us.
The progressives. Yeah.
You cannot have transnationalism treated as other than a dirty word, I think, if you love the Constitution of the United States. If you think that's what makes us exceptional and what makes this experiment we call America possible. If you believe that other people have got it better than we've got it, or got it more right than we've got it, then a transnational is you, and you are, I think, a problem for the rest of us. But on the rights of the child and you know, the rights of women and the International Criminal Court, and on the Sharia program of banning free speech that offends Muslims. I mean, these are unfortunately increasingly touchstones in the law of the sea treaty, which we've talked about in the past. These are the kinds of things that transnationalists believe have to be respected. They have to be accommodated in our own jurisprudence because they're part of the respect of all mankind that our framers talked about in the Declaration. And unfortunately, if we respect those views more than we respect our Constitution, we will not have our freedom.
Right. Frank,
we will not have our sovereignty.
If I'm not mistaken, was it 2 years ago, you and I talked about the Law of the Sea Treaty, which was very close to being passed. The Law of the Sea Treaty would allow our Navy to not go into certain areas. We'd have to get permission. The world would have controlled all the airspace above all the oceans, so they could charge any kind of carbon tax they wanted if you wanted to fly over. It was bad stuff. But the transnationalists wanted it. I got to take a break, but when we come back, Frank, I want you to tell me what happened in Spain. This is what Harold Koh likes, and it's already beginning to happen. More in a second. Back with Frank Gaffney, founder and president of Center for Security Policy. They analyze foreign and defense policy matters. Frank, tell me about what happened in Spain with transnationalism.
In Spain, we have a judge who has, in the past, taken the view, as the Spaniards do more generally, that universal jurisprudence should apply, and they should be able to prosecute whomever they wish worldwide. This judge was given an enormous amount of fame internationally because he prosecuted Augusto Pinochet a number of years ago. And he now wants to prosecute we believe he wants to prosecute. The stage is set for the prosecution of count them, six former Bush administration officials, all lawyers who are being, it seems, about to be charged for the crime of having advised the President of the United States in the course of their official functions about what would constitute tortured. They didn't torture anybody. They weren't responsible for people being tortured. But the theory of the case apparently is that if they even advised the president in a way that might, in the view of this judge, have given rise at some point to somebody in this country torturing somebody else, boom, they should be prosecuted in Spanish court.
Let me just give this real quick. In an article published in the Berkeley Journal of International Law in 2004, Harold Koh, somebody who Obama wants to be our State Department lawyer, he said, quote, "What role can transnational legal process play in affecting the behavior of several nations whose disobedience with international law has attracted global attention after September 11th? Most prominently, North Korea, Iraq, and our own country, the United States of America. For shorthand purposes, I will call these countries the axis of disobedience." So in other words, if you can't get it done here, don't worry. The International Court will come in over our Constitution and hold our people. And Frank, I thank you very much for being here. We have one of the guys who's apparently going to be tried in Spain for advice on tomorrow's broadcast. Final thoughts. And Dashboard Obama joins us.